Hello there, fellow galactic citizens, and welcome back to our channel. I hope that you are keeping up with quarantine and that you are taking care of your mental health during these difficult times. The spread of coronavirus is a new and challenging event. Everyone's lives and daily routines are affected by the measures that have been introduced to disrupt the spread of the virus and keep us all safe. And don't forget, we are all in this together. Now let's get back to Star Wars. Our today's topic will be all-powerful Emperor Palpatine and when we can expect him to come back. Many of you would probably argue that Emperor Palpatine is dead and that he is not returning due to the fact that Skywalker saga is concluded. However, I will try to bring up some facts that could actually prove Emperor Palpatine will return at some stage of Star Wars franchise.
Ever hear the tragedy of Darth Plagueis the Wise?
No.
I thought not. It's not a story the Jedi would tell you.
The Rise of Skywalker movie was much tailored according to Dark Empire comic books. Dark Empire was a series of comic books written by Tom Veitch and originally released by Dark Horse Comics between December 1991 and October 1992 as a 6-issue series. All 3 comic series detailed the resurrection of Emperor Palpatine in clone bodies, which we actually saw in the Rise of Skywalker movie. It's confirmed that Emperor Palpatine body was cloned. Incorporating some details from Dark Empire comics was smart and good move by J.J. Abrams and Chris Terrio, and honestly, they haven't got much maneuvering space after mess that was created by Rian Johnson's Star Wars The Last Jedi. Star Wars The Rise of Skywalker Expanded Edition was published on March 17, 2020 by Del Rey, and one of the details from that novelization you might have missed in debate between Finn and Poe Dameron. Following the Battle of Exegol, the galaxy celebrated Emperor Palpatine's death and the defeat of the Final Order, with uprising against the weakened Final Order taking place on several planets. Bespin, Jakku, Corellia, Lothal, Tifera, Coruscant, and even Emperor Palpatine native Naboo were among the systems reported to be openly rebelling against his forces. During the victory celebration at the Ion Kloss resistance base, Finn and Poe Dameron discussed the possibility of Sidious coming back once more, given that he came back more powerful than ever following his defeat at Endor. They concluded that while Sidious could perhaps return yet again, some other evil would arise as evil always rises. Now, with this being said, in expanded novelization of The Rise of Skywalker, we can assume that we haven't seen the last of Emperor Palpatine. I know many of you would argue that there is no point of bringing Emperor Palpatine yet again, but it would be so cool if we could see young Palpatine clone portrayed, for example, by Matt Smith. We already have tons of rumors that Matt Smith's role in Rise of Skywalker would be young Palpatine, but those scenes never ended in original cut of the movie. Why that happened is still more or less big mystery. I think they saved Matt Smith for the new Star Wars projects, which will include cloned young Palpatine or even new trilogy that will come at some point of time. Yes, I am aware that Skywalker saga is ended, but that doesn't mean that Palpatine is gone with Skywalker bloodline. Consider the fact that Grand Admiral Thrawn and Ezra Bridger are still out there, and I think these characters are being saved for the development of future Star Wars projects. Also, I find hard to believe that Emperor Palpatine, who was one of the greatest minds in whole galaxy, only had one clone body. If we are going to see Emperor Palpatine again, that would be because he transferred his conscious to another cloned body on some other Sith planet in unknown regions where probably Thrawn would wait for his Emperor. Just to remind ourselves, during the Imperial era, Emperor Palpatine sent several explorers into the unknown regions. Many of those explorers were killed while trying to breach the maze that lay to the west of Jakku. Others went mad from isolation. Palpatine's effort to map the unknown regions were aided by the Chiss Admiral Thrawn, a native of the unknown regions. For decades, Palpatine had been seeding the unknown regions with storehouses, shipyards and laboratories. Thrawn served as Palpatine's chief advisor concerning matters within the unknown regions. This is why I think next movie or TV show that will include Emperor Palpatine would also have to include Thrawn, as he was Palpatine's first choice when it comes to unknown regions. When we are talking about Palpatine cloning, which is basically canon, we have to mention that Emperor Palpatine cloned body was designed with Clone Wars era technology by the Sith Eternal, a cultist faction of Sith loyalists who continued to follow the religious traditions of the Sith and sought to resurrect their order. Canon storyline confirmed that the transfers was imperfect and the clone body which the Dark Lord settled in wasn't enough. The body was not able to contain the immense power Sidious possessed and began to decay as a result.
The dark side of the Force is a pathway to many abilities some consider to be unnatural.
Palpatine's body was unable to move on its own. Sidious was mobilized through the use of an Omin harness, a mechanical spine once worn by Omin, an ancient Sith king, and the decay of his body was slowed by vials of restorative fluid, like Bacta. Now ask yourself a question: where else we saw cloning doctors recently? It was in a Mandalorian TV show. Do you remember Dr. Pershing from first episode of Mandalorian TV show? Dr. Pershing was a human male who worked as a scientist for an Imperial Remnant on Nevarro following the collapse of the Galactic Empire. In around 9 ABY, Pershing worked with an individual known as the Client to attempt to acquire a Force-sensitive child. Notably, Dr. Pershing was dressed in Camino cloning facility uniform. Another question that needs to be raised is why scattered Imperial Remnants would be chasing Force-sensitive child of Yoda species. This question gives us almost obvious answer. Emperor Palpatine cloned body needed to be injected with midichlorians that imperfect clone body desperately needed in order to restore full power. Also, Emperor Palpatine's plan was to make his new host body even more powerful than he was before.
You have something I want.
When I mentioned Mandalorian in this whole complete story, I can't bypass Moff Gideon, and he is part of Emperor Palpatine's inner circle and man tasked to aid his plans of resurrection and creation of new empire. There is no doubt about that. I also expect that by the end of Mandalorian TV show it will be revealed that Imperial Remnants that we see were still much in control of Emperor Palpatine, who was pulling the strings from his citadel on Exegol.
You may think you have some idea of what you are in possession of, but you do not.
For the moment, let's get back to reality and ask one simple question. Why Disney would acquire Star Wars franchise for astronomical amount of money and simply kill off its best product and well-known characters? That's not going to happen, and claims that Disney is not making new trilogies or new sagas is pure marketing trick in order for fandom to homogenize and forget about all mistakes they made, like the one with The Last Jedi. Fact is that there will be no new trilogies and movies soon. However, in 3 or 4 years time we could expect some new projects that will certainly include some old and well-known characters like Finn, Poe and Palpatine Reborn. Well, my fellow galactic citizens, with all being said, we can conclude our today's topic. If you liked this video, please hit that subscribe button and help us in restoring peace and order in the galaxy. Since this is very hot topic, I expect a lot of comments and your thoughts on it, so feel free to share your peace of mind in a comment section below. So until next time, may the Force be with you always.